Sir, the woman said, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who has given us this well to drink from, as did also his sons and livestock? This woman's essentially like, you have nothing to draw with, and what do you mean living water? Like, this is the greatest well ever. This well has been around for 1,800 years. At the time of this writing, the well is between 100 to 135 feet deep. A normal well in that time, if 50 feet would be considered a deep well by any other standards. This well is so deep and has lasted for 1,800 years, and there's this spring underneath it that feeds it. And whether or not they know about this spring that feeds it or not, I think they do. I think they understood why it was so deep. Essentially, this woman is saying, this well has been here for 1,800 years, fed by this spring, and now you think you have water greater than the greatest well we have? This well was a gift from God. How could what you have be better than this? I'm glad you asked. Jesus answered, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give will become a spring of living water that wells up to eternal life. What's her question? Wait, where can you get the water? And then he goes on and doesn't answer the question. It's non sequitur number 2. He says, I have living water. Jesus is doing something that doesn't make sense so that he can retrain us. This is it, friends. Just like that song before said, Jesus wants to give you more than you could ask, think, or imagine. But he doesn't want to give you more of what you want. He wants to give you more of what you need. You see, friends, often we come to Jesus and we say we want something, right? This woman's like, hey, I want water, right? And it makes sense. Some of you say, hey, God, I just want a job. That's so good. Some of you are like, hey, I want a relationship. Great. Some of you are like, God, I want you to take this pain or struggle from me. Yes. And sometimes God wants to answer those prayers, but oftentimes he wants to do something that's significantly more. I remember being at a job and struggling with it. And I'm like, God, can you make this job easier? And he didn't. It just got harder. And after a while, I realized that me trying to stay there was asking for what I want. But God says, no. I have something you need. You're staying in this job is not going to stretch. It's not going to grow you. But I'm going to go and I'm going to send you somewhere and you're going to be a lead pastor somewhere else. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, why? Because at that time I was like, only an idiot would be a lead pastor. I was a youth pastor. I didn't have to go to budget meetings. I didn't have to be responsible. I got to wear sandals every single day in the office and they couldn't say anything. Even though the old lady, the 90-year-old Genia, who always volunteered in the office, she said something, but she wasn't my boss. What was she gonna do? What I wanted was comfort. And what he said is, I want you to learn how to trust me. I want you to have a different vision for your life. I want to take you to places that even though it's not where you want to go, you realize it's better because I'm there with you. And this woman wants something good. We're not shaming this woman for wanting water. But non sequitur number 2 is saying, I need to change the logic of what you want. Because whatever you're asking for, it may be good, but he's got something great. And we're about to discover it. This is where we get to a climax here. The woman said to him, Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming back. She's coming at noon. It's a hot part of the day. She's coming alone. Obviously, something's not right. She doesn't want to keep making this trip every single day. I mean, you get it, right? You've got running water. If you had to walk miles every day, this would be so much better. And then here it comes, non sequitur number 3. This woman says, give me the water. And Jesus said, go call your husband and come back. Why? Is it because it's scandalous that he's with a woman? Is it because he thinks that she's not strong enough to carry all of this water? No. This is where we get to the crux of the genius of Jesus. Go call your husband and come back. Verse 17. I have no husband, she replied. Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you've had 5 husbands, and the man you have now is not your husband. And what you said is quite true." To which she's like, "Can we just talk about water and the weather?" Wait, Jesus, this doesn't make any sense. And then you learn the logic, the genius of Jesus, and you see this. This woman's had 5 husbands, and the man she's with now is not her own. Why would she have 5 husbands? There's some options. Number 1, it's possible that every single one of them divorced her. And in Samaritan world, they have very strict divorce rules. There's really only 2 reasons that they could divorce. One would be if she was unfaithful. But if she was unfaithful to all those husbands, I'm telling you, if you're dating someone and they've cheated on their last 4 husbands, the 5th one's not like, "Hey, sign me up, I'm different." Okay, you didn't laugh at that? You might need some help picking partners. Here we go. The other reason might be is because she hasn't been able to fulfill her role and provide children. And maybe because she hasn't done her part, she doesn't get to have a part with this man. So it's possible one option is she's been unfaithful. The probably better option is that either A, they've all been cast away, they've all divorced her, or B, they've divorced her and or they've died and passed away. Imagine the trauma this woman lives with, knowing that she has lost or been rejected by every significant man in her life. And I know one says, "Oh, she doesn't need a man." But in that culture, you almost certainly do. It says that she's coming to eat or get water at noon. All the other women are coming somewhere between 6 and 8 a.m. when it's cooler, and they're all coming together and doing it together. So it's like, they say, "Hey, sometimes women go to the bathroom." That's got a long history of them all going to the well together. And they're talking about, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's not there. Why is she not there? I don't know. Is it because they looked at her and said, "I know what you're doing. You're living with some dude that's not yours. Scandal. I don't want any piece of you." Or maybe they're like, "Oh, no, everywhere you go, there's trouble." Or maybe she's self-selecting. She's like, "Honestly, I don't want to have anything to do with them because I know how they look about me, and I just don't want it." Maybe it's possible she's so depressed that she can't wake up before 11 in the morning and get out of bed, and getting up at 6 when she's like, "I have no reason to live." And this is where the genius of Jesus comes in. He says, "I know you've come with a superficial ask." Let me say that nicer. "I know you've come with a real ask, and it's important. Asking for water is not a bad thing. Whatever you're asking God for right now is almost certainly not a bad thing. 80%, I'm certain you're asking for a good thing." But he says, "I have so much more than you could ever ask, think, or imagine. You were made for more, and I'm going to give you something. I'm not going to give you water that you just can drink, that you can cook with. I'm going to give you water that's going to wash away the shame and the pain of all 5 of those husbands. I'm going to wash it away in such a way that you won't be forced to come here by yourself at noon every day in one of the hottest parts of the day and do this alone. I'm going to give you something that's so incredibly life-changing." But here's the deal, friends. He does something incredibly scary. He jumps in to the most painful, shameful part of her life. And I don't care who you are, that is hard. I remember having a conversation with one of my mentors one time, and we're talking about some sources of pain and shame from my past. And he's like, "How are you doing with those?" "I'm not doing with those." Well, how do you approach it? "I don't. I put all those memories in a little Tupperware. I hide them somewhere far, far, far away, and I don't have to think about it, ask about it, and it just lives there in the most hidden corners of my psyche, and I never have to deal with it." He said, "How's that going for you?" "Good until you brought it up." And he said this. He said these words. He says, "I know you've hidden all your pain and your shame in that Tupperware, But what if I told you that the God of the universe, the God who we have this big theological word called omnipresent, meaning he's everywhere, what if it's possible that that God is already in that Tupperware? And there's ways that you're not experiencing God because you've said that part is off limits because it's too painful and shameful. What if God is already there? And what if you could take that thing that was a source of pain and shame and open it up, not because you were comfortable with what you did or what was done to you, but you can open it up because the God of the universe is there to say, I want to heal this. Because I know you can carry this. But when I remove that Tupperware of pain and shame that you're carrying around, you will be able to walk like never before. You won't have to carry that weight for the rest of your life. And this is the genius of Jesus. He wants to go deeper in terms of transformation. Let me be clear, friends. What he's not trying to do is just change your external surface behavior. That may come, but that's not his heart. He's not just trying to change what you do or don't do on Sunday mornings. That might be part of it, but that's not it. He's not just trying to change the music you listen to and the movies you watch, though that may happen. What he wants to do is say, I love every single part of you so much that there's no part of you that I don't love enough to try and heal and transform. And there's parts of your history, things you've done or done to you, lies that have defined you. And what he wants to do is take those and say, my love and grace, my grace and truth is more powerful than your pain and shame. And will you let